Alrighty, if you need help with the Snurfle meiosis, you came to the right place. Alright, don't forget to put your name on the top and the name of your partners. Number one, when does interphase occur? Interphase. Remember, that's when a cell is not dividing. That's when it's just being a cell. So we're going to put, it happens before meiosis. Meiosis. So it's when a cell is not dividing. That's when it's in interphase. What occurs during interphase? DNA gets replicated, and the cell is just doing its job. So whatever its job is, red blood cells carry oxygen, white blood cells fight pathogens. That's what happens during interphase. The cell's just being a cell. 3, uncoiled stringy DNA, before it condenses into a chromosome, it's called chromatin. Now, if you don't practice that, you're not going to remember all these C words: chromatin, chromatid, chromosomes, centromeres, centrioles, cyclins. You're never going to remember if you don't practice. All right, anyways. 4, human cells have 46 chromosomes, or 46 pieces of chromatin. 46 DNA molecules. It's all basically the same thing. I wonder where we get our DNA from. Do we get them from aliens, from outer space? No, we get half from mom, and the other half, what do you think? From your dad. Exactly half and half. You get 23 chromosomes from your mom. You get 23 chromosomes from your dad. DNA has blank. DNA has genes that determine traits of an organism. Genes, those are segments of DNA that code for a particular trait. Like, where do you think you get your blue eyes from? Well, it's from it's in your DNA, the genes in your DNA, or your brown hair, your blonde hair, whatever. Those are all stored in genes in your DNA. Now, there are different forms of genes. We all have the same genes, but there's different types of genes, different forms. Those are called alleles. So if you have blue eyes, you have 2 blue-eyed alleles that you got them from both parents, mom and dad. So alleles are the different types of genes. So there's blue-eyed alleles, there's brown-eyed alleles, blonde hair alleles, skin color, dimple alleles, different forms of genes, alleles. Blank is when DNA copies itself. Duh, that's DNA replication. Is when DNA copies itself. And that occurs, we already went over it, during interphase. And precisely the synthesis or S stage of interphase. 9, blank are made during meiosis. We should know this by now, or at least it's kind of familiar. Gametes. Gametes, or reproductive cells, are made in meiosis. Remember, mitosis makes your somatic cells, your body cells. What are the examples of gametes? The female egg and the male sperm. Egg is also called ovum, or ova for plural. Meiosis I, remember there's 2 different divisions in meiosis. Same order though. We got prophase I, metaphase I, that's where they line up in the middle. Get anaphase I, that's where they move away from each other or apart. Telophase I. Oh, but then there's meiosis II, where it's going to divide again. So we're going to get 4 new cells, not just 2 like we get in mitosis. Because there's a prophase II, metaphase II. That's where they line up in the middle again, but it's going to be a single file line of chromosomes, not a double file line. Anaphase II, that's where the sister chromatids finally are separated from each other. And telophase II. 12. During prophase I, the chromosomes blank and become blank. They condense and become visible with a microscope. So when the DNA is as chromatin, you can't see it because it's too spread out. But when it condenses into a chromosome, then you can see it with a microscope. Chromosomes that are the same size and have the same genes, those are homologous. Chromosomes. So our chromosome pair number 1, we have 2 of them. We got one from mom, one from dad. and they have the same genes on them, chromosomes. Chromosome pair number 5, I've said it before. That has the gene, we have 2 of them, one from mom, one from dad. Chromosome 5 has the gene of whether you have dimples or not. And blue eyes, that's on chromosome pair number 15. We have 2 of them, one from mom, one from dad. Anyways, 14. Each half of a replicated chromosome, those are called chromatids or sister chromatids. And they're exactly the same. So when the DNA looks like an X, because there's 2 sides on it, it's double-stranded, the right side is exactly the same as the left side. But homologous chromosomes are not exactly the same. They carry the same type of information, but not necessarily the same alleles. During prophase, the nuclear membrane disappears. Nuclear membrane disappears during prophase. 16. During prophase 1, homologous chromosomes, remember those are the same size, they carry the same type of information, they pair up to form what's called a tetrad. So it looks kind of like this. You don't have to draw this. So okay, it's a little skinny, but there's the mom chromosome. You got chromosome you got from mom. Oh, here's the chromosome you got from dad. All right, so those are homologous, same size, they carry the same type of information. They hang out together in what's called a tetrad. During metaphase 1, the tetrads line up in the middle of the cell, And remember, in metaphase 1, it's going to look like this because there's going to be 2 chromosomes. So you can see them here. There's 1, there's 2. And they're going to be lined up in the middle of the cell. That'd be metaphase 1 when there's 2 of them next to each other. 18, the homologous chromosomes split up and move towards opposite ends during anaphase 1. Oh, I turned black. Anyways, who cares? All right, so anaphase 1, this red guy is going to start moving to one side, but the sister chromatids are still going to stay together. And then this blue guy is going to start moving this way. That's anaphase 1. In anaphase 2, the sister chromatids are actually separated from each other. So the 2 red strands will be separated, and the 2 blue strands will be separated from each other. All right, 19. Blank is the division of the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm. Cyto is cytoplasm, and kinesis means to divide. So that's cytokinesis. If you couldn't remember that, not a tragedy, but if you've never even heard of cytokinesis, that's a tragedy. Should have heard of it by now. 20. The 2 new cells that are formed from meiosis I, they are now haploid because they have half of the chromosomes of the original cell. So for humans, we have 46 in our original cell. Once it becomes haploid, now it's 23. We've cut that number in half. Meiosis II must take place because each cell still has too much DNA. We still need to divide it further. I'm going to skip this 3 square one. In metaphase 2, the chromosomes line up single file down the middle. That's right. 24. In anaphase 2, sister chromatids now split up. So they're no longer together. Now they're single-stranded chromosomes. Let me draw real quick what the heck. So in anaphase 2, it's going to look like this. I'll just draw it in this one. You don't have to draw this, though. All right, the sister chromatids have separated from each other. So there's the 2 red guys, and they're moving to opposite ends of the cell in anaphase 2. Remember, if it was anaphase 1, those sister chromatids would still be together as they're moving to opposite ends of the cell. 25, at the end of meiosis 2, you have made 4, you get 4 cells called, and we should know this one, gametes. You get 4 gametes. All right, I forget what this one is supposed to look like. I think there's 2 chromosomes. I think there's a blue one and a red one. I'm fairly certain. Make the ribbon a little thicker. All right, so we have a red chromosome from mom. And we got a blue chromosome from dad. So those only 2 chromosomes, but those are homologous. They have the same type of information. Well, after meiosis I, the red guy will end up, I put the blue guy. Point. The red, I did the blue again. All right, red. The red chromosome, double-stranded, move into this cell, And the blue one, double-stranded because the sister chromatids are still together, will be in this one. And in meiosis II, the sister chromatids separate. So we got one chromatid, but it's now a chromosome. Remember, it's no longer a chromatid once it's by itself. Red one here, and blue one, blue one. Anything else? Okay, got a couple more. If the gametes are produced by a female, they're called eggs, or ova. And the male gametes are the sperm. When a sperm and egg join, this is a new term, you've never heard this one, but remember, you will forget it in about 30 seconds if you don't practice it. But anyways, a fertilized egg is not an embryo, it's called a zygote. Zygote. How am I going to remember that? Practice it. Do the quizzes, do the Quizlets. Our test will be next week. All right, hope you understood it, and I'll see you next time.